Hi guys, welcome back to the channel. Yes, this is the long-awaited episode. This is the episode where we are, fixing up a number of the major problems that we had for the last couple of months on the Opel Corsa. Now, this whole thing started about 12 months back. When I looked at my exhaust, I saw that there was an issue on the exhaust, and the issue was that there was oil coming out of the back of the exhaust. Now, at first you start to worry, you start to panic, you start to stress. But then I decided, no, let me do my usual tests that I do, which is of course a compression test, a leak down test, and I scoped the cylinder as well. And what you'll see is from the scope that I've done is that there's clearly oil inside the cylinder. Now, the most important thing to remember is, where did this oil come from? What caused it? And from the scope, we can see the oil, it looks as though it's not coming from the bottom, so from the rings, in other words. There's a huge amount of oil on the top of the cylinder where the cylinder head is, and it appears to be very much coming out of the valves. So I had concluded that at that stage that it was valve stem seals. I needed to change them, but I couldn't do it immediately, and they weren't as bad as they are now. This is just the final culmination of all the things going wrong, and of course I had to do something about it, and that's what you're going to see in the video coming up. So there's going to be a lot going on in this video. I've divided it into segments so you can see exactly what happened when I did the cam, when we installed the cam, when we cleaned out the cam box, when we put in the lifters, rockers, etc. So you're going to see different things going on in the video, and it's important for me to try and convey as much of the detail as possible. Guys, remember, my engine is in a certain condition, so you are going to have to determine the condition of your engine before you even do something like this. You need to really determine it, and if you're not sure and you've got the ability to just go ahead and do the job, then that's going to be the best thing for you to do, because from there you're going to be able to determine what will be the best course of action for you to take in resolving the problems that you have. So I think it's important that before you do any engine work on your engine, please assess your engine before you do it. I very much know the condition of my engine, and due to the regular servicing, I can see I've put certain parts were under pressure and needed to be replaced. Other parts have been saved from being replaced because of the servicing that was done. Let's just get on with the video. Please enjoy the video. It's a very long video, but please have a look and spend time watching it so that you can actually see the detail that we go to in the video. It's that time that I've been speaking about for some time now, and there's been some issues with the Opel Corsa 1.4 Utility, and I've just decided today's the day, and we're going to now start doing the work that needs to be done. What we have a problem with is, if we have a look at all our cylinders are clear except for this one, and that's what we're having a problem with right now. So that's one of the first things I've detected, and I've also seen the following. So our Corsa's got a little bit of problems, and we need to sort it out now. We're going to investigate and see what we find. So I'm going to be taking off the cylinder head. We're going to be sending the cylinder head away for machining to the engineers. If it requires it, they're going to check it. They're going to let me know what the prognosis is and what they're going to do about it. And then we're going to take it from there. But in the meantime, we're going to strip down and start stripping everything. Okay guys, been 2 hours, and it is now finally ready to come off, but I just wanted to take the time to see and show you what I wasn't happy with the last time. Firstly, I put this gasket on, which I should not have done. This gasket doesn't belong here. We should have used some gasket maker, and what happens is now you're increasing the distance between the cam box as well as the head, and this is the oil feed passage here, and I didn't put any sealer on there. So we've increased the height here, but we haven't closed that up there, and I think a lot of this was seeping through and not actually coming up to the cam box properly. It's just a guess, but in theory that's what I look at it and what I think.
and yeah, it's something that unfortunately I think has caused some problems on the cams and so on. But overall, I'm happy with the way it looks inside. I must say the cylinder is extremely clean. That's just oil you're seeing there, which is a really good sign. No sludging, nothing like that. Okay guys, everything's off. Manifold's off, cylinder is off. Now the cylinder head, guys, yeah, so the cylinder head, my mistake here was the gasket. If you feel this, that's definitely like almost a millimeter there. This is about a millimeter over here that it's gone up. Now it's gone up a millimeter here, but not a millimeter there. So the gasket covers outside but doesn't cover this. So it's caused the separation for the oil feed from the bottom. And I think that's where my problem is. I should never have used this gasket. We should have done it the normal way, which is just to put the gasket maker on here and a little bit around there, just a slight amount around there. That is exactly what I should have done, and I think that's where I went wrong, guys. So that's unfortunately how it is. That's how we discover things. We tested something and it doesn't work. And of course on the bottom we can see, I hope you can see that, the cylinders here, they definitely look to me like valves. Valve themselves are finished on all of them, but particularly on the last one, on cylinder number one. Yeah, this one was the worst of them all. The others still had some dry exhaust valves, but the bulk of it was wet inlet valves, guys. And I'm sure when they take it out to the engineers, they're going to see that this is a problem. And yeah, so that's what happened with that. And now we're going to send it off to the engineers, let them clean it up and sort out the valves, everything. I just want to show you the engine. Okay, my cylinders are looking good, guys. They're a little bit glossy, but that's okay. There's no scarring, no major marks, anything funny in the cylinders. I've checked them, and also the pistons are still tight. They're actually, I'm trying to move them, but they are definitely not loose. They are still very much tight inside there, and they've been turning quite easily. Yeah, all of them, all 4 pistons seem to be okay, seem to be in good order. So overall, looks like the cylinder was the problem, but we'll get it to the engineers and we'll get it all sorted out. So we're busy doing our cleaning of all the parts, and we're busy now with the fuel rail and the injectors. And I just had a good look at it now, and as you can see, this side already is looking not so great, looking a little bit dirty. And then when I check the other side, you can see, you can kind of see very clearly that I don't know if you can have a look inside there, but there's a lot of dirt inside there. So guys, that is what happens when you have 30 injectors. That's what happens. That's how it looks, and that's really not what you want. There's quite a bit of muck inside there. And then on the fuel rail itself, I'm just having a look here, and I can see inside there. Just take out the seal. Inside there we can see quite a bit of dirt inside there. Look at that. That's all dirt that's sitting inside there. Try and take out some of that. It's actually dirt blocking the hole. So that's what we're dealing with here. Just goes to show how much dirt's actually inside your injector. So this is not a proper clean. This is not the 100% way of doing it. But You know, we're going to clean it now with some carb cleaner. You're going to use our Wind's carb cleaner and just spray it out, and that should help. That should really help the process. Look at that. Wow, dirt everywhere. Guys, your injectors need to be cleaned regularly, and this is not the proper way of doing it, but at least it will be a little cleaner than what it was before. I think in a future video I'm going to try and do the proper clean, where we pulse it and clean it. Right, so let's just clean off this injector, do it the best we can. And for now I think that's okay. We've managed to clean out our first injector. Yeah, clean. So we've removed all the gunk best we can. There's a better way of cleaning this. I'm not going to do it in this episode. I will do it in a future episode. One injector clean. Let's clean off our O-ring. Nice and clean there. And then what we'll do is we are going to put it back onto our ejector, and we'll use some of the rubber grease, and just put some rubber grease on the O-ring. Once we've got it on, O-ring goes on like that. Very simple. Goes on like that, and then we're going to put some rubber grease over that. Don't close the outside. Don't close the hole. All you want to do is put the rubber grease a little bit on the outside, just to lubricate it. That's all you want to do. Next up is take your fuel rail, which we need to clean still. Let's clean this out here. A lot of cleaning, lots of cleaning that needs to be done. Just keep him up and we'll clean him out like that. Look at that. Wow. Dirt coming. Lots of dirt coming out. There we go. And what we'll do is we'll push him in. It's important to put him in the same way that he came out. So make sure that your fuel rail is clean. And then make sure you put your injectors back the same way that it came out, in this position. The injector must be facing down, and that's how you do it. And then what we're just going to do is squeeze in our injector, and there we go. Goes in very easy, very nicely, and you don't have a problem. And your first one is done. I think what we will do is first clean the whole rail, and then we will put all our injectors in one by one once they are finished. So I'm just making this video. It's a quick one. I'm busy with the Opel Corsa Utility. We're busy with the engine, and I've managed to get off the tensioner that was on there. And this is your standard tensioner, and this is the one that's on there at the moment. That's the Chev one that I've got on there at the moment, the Chev 1.4 Utility, which is the closest to the original tensioner. But the nice thing about it is it's got the adjustable feature on it. So you've got the adjuster on the front like that, whereas the standard tensioner does not have the adjuster on it like that. And all I wanted to show you was that this is the closest one in terms of height. It's a little bit taller, but in terms of height, it's actually the closest you're going to get to the standard tensioner with an adjuster. And the level that they are at is exactly the same. They're at the same level across like that. So that means that they will, that part of it is good. With your other tensioners, you'll see that they are much higher, and they are now actually way too high. And you can use them. It's no problem. I've tried them already. They do work. The various tensioners you get, they all work, but they've got different configurations, different spring settings, and I would suggest that you stay with the one that's closest, which is the Chev one, the GM one. Not very cheap. It's a very expensive tensioner, but it's probably the better one to use. I've had it in for a while now and it seems to be going fine. You get an aftermarket one. I don't know what this make is, but I can't remember what that brand is and what the make is, but it looks exactly the same, or not exactly the same, but similar. But you will see the bolt hole at the back is different, the bolt hole here is different. This one takes a bigger bolt, and this one here, the sheave one, takes the smaller bolt. The smaller bolt is this one here. That's your smaller bolt. It's got the Torx head that it comes with, and it's much thinner as well, but it fits in there, and that's how it works. But the benefit about it is that you're going to get the adjustment feature, which I like to have. It's just much easier to do it than to clock your water pump, but you need to know how to do it. And of course I've covered it on the channel with so many other short videos, so you guys can see on the channel where that is. But these are your three options, really your three options: either standard tensioner, and you've got to clock the water pump, and then of course water pump clocking adjustment, and of course the sheave tensioner, which has got the adjuster on it, which is much easier to adjust. So that's basically the two options you have, and there's an aftermarket one also, but I don't know the brand name on this one here. I honestly don't know what that is, but those are your options, and I'd always prefer to use the sheave one. This is the closest option to your standard tensioner there. Okay guys, first thing we're going to do right now is we're going to get our new cam out. Yeah, and we're just going to give it a good clean, and then we're going to oil up our cam box, and we're going to insert it in that. So the cam we're using is the motive cam. That's the cam that we're putting in. What we're just going to do with it first is just to spray it with some cleaner, and we're going to clean it off. Obviously you want to use a clean cloth. Okay guys, first thing we want to do is we just want to clean it off. We're going to use some brake clean just to give our cam a good clean. Try and get off the oil that comes with the cam itself. So we're trying not to get that stuck into the cam. So we'll just take a nice clean cloth and clean this cam off. Get off all the old oil that's on here, the packaging oil and all of those type of things. You want to get that off. Really give it a good clean. You'll see as you're cleaning it, you'll see that there is like a residue on here. And the best thing is to try and get that residue off. All over, wherever the moving surfaces are, get that residue off it. Another spray. Spray through. Okay, we're also going to spray inside the holes, because as you know, this is where the actual oil comes up into the cam. Go. Let's get the cam clean on the inside. Give it a good dry off. Right. And then finally, we're going to blow out all our holes. As you know, blowing out your holes, as I will say this many times, is very, very important. And we're going to use a compressed air from the compressor. So really beneficial to have one of these. Okay, what we're going to do now is we're going to be removing the seal, which is just very simply pop it out like that. That's your cam seal, and I just want to make sure that my cam box is as clean as it can be. You'll see there's still a bit of oil inside here. We're just going to clean that out quickly. Just give it a quick clean. We've spent quite a bit of time cleaning the cam box because you want to make sure this cam box is 100% clean, especially the airways. And yeah, that's been done already. Yeah, that looks okay. That looks better. Much better. Just a little dirt. You can use a screwdriver, just do it very gently and just try and loosen the dirt. Don't try to scrape the actual surface of the cam box. But there sometimes you do need a bit more of a mechanical force to loosen up the dirt. And that's just what I'm doing now. Okay, that's the end of that one. Let's use some car cleaner. A little bit of that. Yeah, guys, that's clean enough. That's clean enough. And once again, just going to take our air gun, just blow out our holes. Right. Okay, next thing we're going to do, we need to prep is our cam box. We're going to be putting in our cam into the cam box. For that we're going to require our cam seal, cam box seal. We're also going to need our cover that goes on the side. We're going to need some Victorine's gasket maker for the cover on the side. Always going to need that. There is a seal, and we're going to use a seal, but I know from experience it's going to be better to put the gasket maker on as well. And we're going to start by just getting some oil on all of just a little bit of oil just on these journals on the inside here. I want to make sure that they're well oiled up. And the idea is just to make sure that there's a thin layer of oil on it, because I'd rather have some oil on than to have no oil on it at all. The only surface we're not going to have oil on is this one over here, so I'm just going to clean off. But we do want to make sure that we've got oil on everything else. I think it's very important to ensure that the surfaces are oiled. And then our cam, we're going to put some oil on the cam as well. Cam feels nice and clean, but let's get some oil on it. I love the sound of this cam. Wow, it sounds so nice. Sounds like Japanese steel. Let's just get our cam well oiled. Because we're going to try and minimize any scratching of the surfaces as we go through, and also obviously on startup there's got to be oil on everything. There's going to be a startup procedure on the cam as well, but we'll come to that when that happens. Just get everything well oiled up. Don't be shy with the oil. Right, here we go. So now we can insert our cam, and we're going to do it from this side. Obviously your pin, you want to make sure that the pin is on the cam sprocket side. Okay. So we'll insert it from this side. And we just want to carefully put the cam in. It goes in relatively easy, but you still want to make sure that you're doing it as carefully as you possibly can. Just feed it through gently, it will go in. There you go. Just keep an eye on your lobes, that the lobes don't scratch or touch too much. A small little scratch won't do anything, but you don't want to be rough with it. So that's it, the cam is in. Just got to line him up properly. And the way we're going to line him up is we're going to use our cam securing bracket, which is on the distributor side. I keep saying distributor, it's on the coil side. And that bracket we're looking for is this guy over here with his 2 bolts. And what happens is you put it through like that. There's like a groove. It's not difficult to figure out. There's a groove, you slide him in. You just have to work him a little bit. And what will happen is this plate will fit into the groove on the cam. And that's all you need to do. And then you put in your bolts just to keep him in position. Just going to turn him in. Just a bit of patience and he'll go in. What we're going to do is we're just going to tighten that up. There we go. Just tighten it up. Whenever you tighten bolts, guys, make sure you tighten your bolts one at a time. Especially when you get to the end, don't tighten one and then turn the other one in. Make sure that they go in together and turn them in equally and tighten them up at the end equally. That one's tight. Now we just need this one. There we go. Now, yeah, so what we just want to check also is that our cam is turning nicely. Oh, turning beautifully inside there. Feels very smooth, it's lubricated and it's turning extremely easy inside there. Now, from this point onwards, we're going to do a couple of things. We're going to start with the seal, and then we're going to torque up those bolts, and we're going to start with the seal on the side here, and then we're going to be done with our cam box. The torque on is 8 Newton meters. Now, 8 Newton meters is absolutely so little. So we just want to get it nice and tight. There we go. That's definitely 8 Newton meters, guys. Definitely 8 Newton meters. Oh, oops. There we go. There we go. That's good enough. So our thrust plate for our cam is in its place. There's no play on that. Feels good. So our cam is almost ready. Our next thing we're going to do is to put in our Victorine's seal, cam seal. Very simple operation, guys. What I would do is get some oil on the outside of the seal, just a little bit. We don't want to overdo it, but we do need some lubrication. You can use rubber grease as well. That will also work, but ideally this is what you want to do. Reasonably easy, like that. That's the easy bit. And then what I'm going to do is I'm just going to center it more or less in position. And then we have to tap him in, guys. We're going to have to tap the seal in now. We're going to tap it from side to side a little bit. And what I just want to do is, I see it's a little bit higher on the side, so I'm going to tap him on that side first. Tap him in there, and we tap him evenly. We're using a size 30 socket. Just so you can see, this is a size 30 socket. And we're going to tap him across evenly in. He'll go in. He's got a little bit of oil on him. He'll go in. Once you hear the hammer sound becomes solid, that's where you're going to stop. We now can move on to the next thing that needs to be done. And you can just check, rotate your cam again, make sure that everything is fine, looks good, feels good. And we can move on to the plate on the other side now. Now what we need to do here, we need to just clean off the surface from the oil. We're going to clean it off a little bit. Just clean him off. And we are going to clean him even more. So what goes in here, guys, is a O-ring on this cover. I'll show you the cover now. This is the cover on which the coil fits, and that's this cover over here. That's the cover we're talking about. It's got 2 8 bolts and 1 10 bolt, and it's got a washer as well. I don't know, I think the original cover's got 3 8 bolts, but that is of no importance where this is concerned. For now, I'm just going to use our gasket maker on here, and there's a original O-ring in here. I'm just going to put the original O-ring in here, or keep it in here at least, and then we're going to put some gasket maker and fit it on. The thing we want to do is just try and get our surfaces as clean as possible. I'm going to take some carb cleaner, just clean it off. Carb cleaner is generally the best for degreasing these oily surfaces. It does help a lot. If you want to do it quickly, then that's going to work. And also on the inside of this cover, I'm just going to spray it here as well. Just get some of the oil off here. Just carefully spray it on there. I can already see the oil is busy coming off. Yeah, that's good. Just going to wipe that surface so that it's nice and clean. Try and get it as oil free as possible, because this cover tends to leak and you really got to go to town with your gasket maker on here. And I don't know, I found this a couple of times before now when I've done this, that is the situation. So alright, let's get our gasket maker on there. What we're going to do is put gasket maker on the seal. You're just going to spread it. You're trying to spread it to the inside, so out to the inside of the cover, not to the inside of the engine. We don't want to get gasket maker in. We're trying to prevent gasket maker from getting in. And I'm going to just put a little bit more on the inside here, closer, because I know that's where it really seals up. But you don't want to put too much. But you do need to put a reasonable amount, so it's a bit of a hit and miss, but I prefer to put a little bit more. Yeah, that should do it. And then we can just smooth him out like that. Right. There we go. Guys, the key is to keep your hands as clean as possible, especially once you've worked with gasket maker. You want to get it onto a separate cloth and then not get it anywhere else where it doesn't need to be. Okay, so our cam thrust plate bolts are tight. We've torqued them, and now we're going to put on our cover. And if you remember, this is how it looks on the engine if you're looking from the front, and this should be your this should be where your coil goes on, this plate. So this plate, it's not difficult, you can't really get it wrong. This is the way it fits on. It's got 3 holes, and the 3 holes must line up. If they line up, then you know that you've done it properly. And there's my 1, 2, and my 3rd hole lining up there. Just going to push him in like that, press him in nice and tight. And guys, we're going to hope that seals. Because yes, unfortunately, if it doesn't seal, it's going to mean I'm going to have to take it off again, which if is the case, it's not the end of the world. It's not a difficult job. You can do it. It's possible to do it. So let's put in our bolts here. Okay guys, we've got a bit of a problem. I don't have the right bolt for number 3 here, but I'm going to fit him once we're finished. I need to get that bolt that fits in here. So we'll do that afterwards, which thankfully we can do it still afterwards. But these 2 are tight. These 2 8 bolts are tight on here, so that's fine for now. Alright, we are at the stage right now where we are able to say that our cam install is done in the Cambox. we are finished. I'm just going to clean it off a little bit. We'll add some more oil later on when we install the whole cam box and head assembly. But for right now, I'm quite happy with how that went. Everything seems to be in order. Everything's turning nicely. It's very smooth. Yeah, I think everything's lubricated. All our holes are blown out. We don't need to worry about dirty holes. All we need to do now is to ensure that our surfaces are ready and clean for gasket maker. We're going to do gasket maker on this surface, not the gasket that we had in before. What we're busy with now is I'm just taking out my lifters. This is our FAI lifters that we bought. FAI is a reasonably good brand. We're doing that right now. Just going to take that out. I don't know, the packaging is a little bit intense. But there we go. New lifters. And it's important to make sure that you've got 8 lifters. Don't have 7 or less, because you're going to have a problem. 2, 4, 6. Hey, I'm making the joke on me. Almost it's reality. There we go. Guys, FAI, you see on here, it is made in England. If you have a look, it's made in England. England. FAI is a brand from England. Right, these are 8 lifters. Now, the thing about lifters is when you feel them, they are hard. They are extremely hard. The lifters are filled with the lifters are filled with the assembly oil that you get at the factory, and you really compress it down. So what we're going to do first with these lifters is we're going to squeeze them in the vise, and then we are going to install them into the Corsa. It's best if they are installed soft. Don't install them hard. They need to be soft. They need to take up the oil, and they'll fill themselves naturally. So it's important that you press out the lifters before you do that. Pause. The other thing is, of course, the thing that goes with the lifters are the rockers. Now these are your rockers. I've got the motive cam, motive rockers, FAI lifters, and we've got the FAI rockers. So the two brands, I've done it in a video before. They are close enough to each other in terms of bolt, height, etc. And they will work well together. I have no issues about that. 2, 4, 2, 4, 6, 8. 2, 4, 6, 8. So guys, we've got our 8 lifters, we've got our 8 rockers. We're almost ready. We're just going to squeeze them into we're just going to squeeze the lifters out, and then we're going to start by putting on the cylinder head. We're first going to blow out our holes on the cylinder head and make sure our surfaces are good enough, and then we're going to take it from there. Right, so what we're doing now is we're going to put our lifters into the vise, and you just want to squeeze them. And what you're going to see is you're going to see that some oil is going to come out of this hole over here. That's where the oil will come out, is that side hole over there. And you want to catch that oil, and you want to push the lifter clear, push all that oil out. So I'm going to start turning the vise now. As you can see, the lifter is busy collapsing. And you just want to turn back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. That's what you want to do. And at some point it will stop. And there you can see oil is coming out. You see the oil coming out. There we go. That's your bolt oil coming out over there. Just going to go back again. We're going to do it again. Make sure that all our oil is out. Looks like it's all run out. I'll just turn it to the bottom. And we'll go back and forth. Maybe about 3 times. We'll just go back and forth like that. And you'll see the oil dropping out the bottom. Don't overpress them, but just make sure that your oil is out. Last time, yeah, there's some more oil still coming out. Guys, there we go. All the oil is out of the lifter. And now your lifter is ready. And what you'll see, there's the oil. And now you'll find your lifter is soft and spongy and easy to press. So when your cam pushes down initially on it, what's going to happen is the cam will be able to push on it. You won't have any issues with that. And the lifter will be able to fill up much easier then. So, alright. So our lifters are ready to go. Our rockers are ready to go. What we want to do now is to work on our cylinder head going onto the block. Let's go and have a look at that and see what we're doing there. So what I'm just going to do now is, guys, I'm just going to put my lifters and my rockers in some oil, just so that they are well lubricated. So when we install them, we don't have to still oil them up or put too much oil. They'll be ready to go. So carefully put them in there, as well as our lifters. Just carefully, gently put them in, and just lay them in there for a little bit. Yeah, there we go. Just add a little bit of oil. Don't need to waste any oil. Just enough to cover them. That's it. That's all we want to do. There we go. That's all we're doing for now, and later on we'll just pop them in. I'm just doing this so that they're lubricated and ready to go. Okay guys, so what's happened now is we've done all our cleaning that we need to do. I'm quite happy with how things have come out. We've cleaned the pistons to the best of our ability. We've also scraped the block, the surfaces here. I've used this scraper. There's absolutely nothing coming off here. There's no gasket material left on top of the block. What you see here is just the impression of the gasket itself. However, there's absolutely nothing, there's no gasket material on top there. We've cleaned it to the best of our ability. I've even taken a bolt. We've blown out the holes, and I've taken a bolt just to make sure all the threads are good. We just checked all the threads to make sure that it's good. And that's something that you can do when you are busy checking your threads, so that you've got enough thread to turn your new bolts into. That's what we've done there. And then the final thing that we're going to do is we're going to blow out our holes. I've blown them out, I've cleaned them out, I've put a cloth down them. They are as clean as they can be. Always remember that you need to clean them out, because you can have water in there, and that's the last thing you want to have inside your block. The other thing also is to remember that we grease up the bolts, so there can be grease stuck inside there, and you want to get that out. So what we just do is take our compressor, our air gun, and we're just going to blow it in there. Just take a cloth so that all that muck that comes out doesn't go into the oil and water passages. Just try and close it like that, and then blow out the holes. And we're going to just do that with all of them. I've done it before, guys, so I'm not using a cloth, but for you, rather use a cloth and do that. Whoa. And make sure that you don't need any of the water, because that's obviously coolant in there, and you don't want coolant in your face. But I know that I've already done all the holes, and all of them are clean. Pay particular attention to the outside edge of the hole there. Make sure that that's without any debris in there. Now we need to get a few things ready. We are now ready to put the head gasket onto the block, but we need to sort out a few other things. And I'm just looking at the Victor Rein's head gasket set here. Now, in terms of all the gaskets, guys, all the gaskets are in here. This every single gasket that you need is in here, except the one which we discussed earlier. But everything else in here, even there's valve stem seals in here. And fortunately, I've already put on new valve stem seals on the head, so I'm going to require that at a later stage. There's some seals in here, and of course the cam cover gasket is there as well. And of course the most important one is a sump gasket as well, which we're going to work on later. We're not going to do that right now in this episode, but we're going to work on that sump in the next episode. We've got our exhaust gasket. We've got our inlet manifold gasket here. That's our inlet manifold gasket, which we are going to need. And there's an oil pump gasket in here as well, which we're not going to use now because we're not changing the oil pump at all. The last thing, and obviously the most important one, is the head gasket. And that head gasket is the Victor Rein's head gasket, and this is the one that we're going to be using. This doesn't look right. Okay, so guys, we've just discovered now that in this head gasket set, we've got this gasket. Now straight away this gasket doesn't look right to me, because if I look at it, the holes have got some sort of a strange shape to them, and I've never really ever seen this gasket before when I've done this job. I've done this job about 3 or 4 times now, and I've never seen this gasket. So the thing about it is that when you go to the spare shop and you ask for Opel Corsa 1.4 utility bakkie, gamma bakkie, you ask for the head gasket set, that's what happens. They give you what they got on the system. Now the only difference is that the sump here on this bakkie is different. That's why I took this set. Now this is the only difference, is the sump gasket is different on this vehicle, because I've got the aluminium sump on here. Now the thing about it is that perhaps that's the difference in the two sets. However, the configuration of the head gasket itself, that one is like, I don't know what you call that shape, and this one is round, which I'm very familiar with, and this one here is totally different. That is not round, it's I don't know, hexagonal or something like that, if you want to call it that. So yeah, so it's very important that if you're going to do this, you got to know what you're looking at. And if something doesn't feel right, guys, if it doesn't look right, then it can't be right. I've just checked it now on the block, and I can see that this one would not seal up properly, not as well as the round circles are sealing up. So this cannot be the right gasket for this engine. And this is what happens with so many different parts, guys, that you buy. So therefore, you need to get your knowledge right about it. And if something don't feel right, please take it back. So the first thing I've done is to put my pistons. I've turned the engine and I put the pistons in the middle of the engine before we do assembly, so we know that no valves, nothing's going to hit the pistons at the top. None of the pistons are at the top. And then we're just going to check our head gasket, and clearly this is the correct head gasket that needs to go on here, guys. There's no doubt in my mind about that one, that this is the correct head gasket that goes on here. It was just interesting what you saw previously, what I just spoke about, but this is the correct head gasket. And just to be sure, just check your holes, make sure that all of your holes are actually lining up all over, everywhere that the holes are lining up all over the. So at this point, I just want to say a special thank you to Weld and Stitch Repairs. They are like an engineering company that does cylinder heads. They do so many anything automotive got to do with engineering on the engine. They will do it for you. I was very happy with the service, and yeah, their turnaround time is very good as well. So if you need any head work done, block work done, Weld and Stitch Repairs, guys. I just wanted to explain what actually happened. I didn't go into much detail about when it came back. So the cylinder came back from the engineers. They've done everything beautifully. Looks nice and clean. Looks fantastic. They've redone the valve stem seals inside. New Victorines hit valve stem seals inside. They've redone the valves as well. They've cleaned the whole head, acid clean. The main issue was the fact that what had happened was that 4 of the valve guides in cylinder number 1 and cylinder number 2 were finished. And these are the guides here. If you don't know what guides look like, that's what your valve guides look like as. This is your valve guides, and they replaced them with new ones, and they did a good job with that. And this is the valve guides that they put in. This is the AE, the Federal Mogul. They are like top-notch, top quality valve guides. It's not something you want to play around with. You want to make sure that your valve guides are good. So what was happening was, because of the excessive wear on the valve guide, and the valve stem seal also, oil was actually passing through the valve stem seal, through the valve guide, and then also coming out at the cylinder number 1's exhaust port here. You'll see that a little bit later in the video, but that's what was happening. So they've cleaned up all of that. They've done it very nicely, and I'm very happy with what they've done. We've also had the heads, a very light skim on the bottom. The head's been skimmed very lightly. There was a little bit of wear here. They felt that it needed to be welded, so they've welded on 2 places, and that will help with the water, the water coming through the cylinder head, and not obviously going into the cylinders themselves. So guys, overall that is what was done, and that was the real problem that we had on the head, and everything is sorted, and now we can put the head back on. So something we're just going to do before we put the head on is we're just going to put the thermostat on as well. Just a bit easier to do it now before we put it on. We're going to, this thermostat comes with its seal. I'm not replacing it because I did change this thermostat not too long ago, and I don't feel it needs to be changed right now. But yeah, if you're doing this and you haven't changed your thermostat in a long time, then please change your thermostat before you put it back on. Or tightened equally. I'm not going to torque them down because I think the torque is very low on them, but you need to tighten them well because you've got the seal that needs to seal up against the cylinder head's body. So I'm just going to tighten it up as much as I can. That feels good. There we go. There we go. Okay. Right, I'm happy with that, guys. Let's go and let's put the cylinder on and let's start assembling. Just before I install the cylinder head, I just want to blow out the holes one more time just to make sure, and particularly the hole I really want to blow out is the oil passage here. I want to make sure that that one is blown out very well, because you don't want to end up any blocked up passages. Just blowing out all the holes one last time. I have blown them out earlier, but let's make sure. There could still be debris inside. Yeah. Guys, something that's very important when you're assembling things is to make sure that you clean off your threads. It's highly important that you clean the threads off. Here what we're doing is we're cleaning the threads. We've taken our brush and we clean out the threads, clean out the nuts, make sure that all the dirt and the gunk is out before you put them in. Yeah, because we're going to be assembling the cylinder head as well as the inlet manifold now, and yeah, it's something that you want to make sure that all your threads are clean. Anything, any bolts, anything like that, make sure always that your threads are cleaned out very well. Our thermostat is on now. The next thing we want to add on to that is our inlet manifold. So it's going to be better to install the inlet manifold onto the cylinder head before we put it onto the block itself. Otherwise it's going to be very difficult to get to those nuts at the back. It just really makes the job a lot easier by doing it this way. And then we will assemble the cylinder head and the block. Right, so step number one, what we want to do is just get our gasket on. It's just easier to do it this way. So what I'm doing is I'm just putting on the gasket there. It also should just flop in. This is the Victor Ryan's gasket. This is the one from the heads gasket, the full body engine set that we've got. And as I've said earlier on, this is the right one to have. So what we're going to do is I'm just going to turn the head on its side. It's probably going to be a lot easier to do it this way. And what we'll do is take our inlet manifold, and of course guys, make sure that your manifold is if you needed to rinse it out, now's the time to do that. So we're just going to move our cylinder to the back, and I put it on its side so that we can actually get much easier access, and you can see how this goes on. It's actually very simple the way that it goes on. Obviously your holes at the bottom, let's just do it this way. Your holes at the bottom have to correspond with the holes at the top. Here we go. That, just to show you like that. There we go. That's what's happening. Now you can see all the holes are corresponding, and you push them together. We're going to slide it together just like that, and that's all you need to do. So imagine trying to take this off inside the engine. It's just very, very difficult. And what I'm going to just do now is to put on our bolts. We've got two studs that have come out, which is generally not the issue. You just put them back again, make sure your gasket is in the right place, and yeah. So one of the studs, guys, so you'll see the stud is not all the way in. Now what you can do there is to take one nut, put him on. Just going to lay this there, lock another nut onto him like that. There you go, and then turn your whole stud in. Because the two are locked together, your stud will be able to turn in. You should be able to do it by hand. If your threads are clean, your head is clean, you should be able to do it by hand. And yeah, there goes your stud. Just make sure your nuts stay locked together. And keep your nuts to the top like that, so that you can get it in deep enough. Ideally you should lock them with two spanners, but I'm just turning by hand because my threads are allowing me to do that. Right, there we go. Just keep adjusting your nuts. And once your stud drops to a certain point, once it drops below, you'll feel it gets tight. Just keep turning. There we go. There we go. So what it should be doing is sticking out about that far. That's how far your stud should be sticking out. And now you can loosen your two nuts from one another and just check your distance, see what you've got. Yeah, in this case we've got sufficient. I'm quite happy with that. And the same story with this one here. Although he seems like he's tight on the bolt itself, so we're not going to have to do that. We're not going to have to do what we did before this. I think he's fine the way that he is. We'll just turn him tight. Yeah, he's sticking out a little bit too high, so I'm going to just adjust him a bit more. So we've put on our nuts on our inlet manifold, And we're just going to torque them to 20 Newton meters, which is what we need to do. And I'm going to start just by tightening them. I'm not going to torque them right now. I'm just going to tighten them up just like that. And then what we'll do is we'll torque them afterwards. So what you're going to find is that some of these bolts we won't be able to get to torque them because they're in a very awkward position. But we will do our utmost to get to 20 Newton meters, which is not much. Doesn't really, it's your arm's tightness. If you're a nice strong guy, then you can do this. Here we go, 20 Newton meters, nothing special about that. Okay. Guys, I'm just going to tighten them up well because I can't get in there with my torque wrench. So I'm going to go with 25 Newton meters, which this is already past what I'm doing, but it's pretty good because we don't want these to come loose. So we're just going to hand tight them, definitely past 20 Newton meters, which I feel much more comfortable with than what I felt now being 20 Newton meters. That felt a bit too loose for me actually. My bolts on the inside, same story. That's our cylinder head and manifold torqued together. Next thing we're going to do is to put on the fuel rail. Our fuel rail has got two bolts that holds it in place, and we're just going to put some rubber grease on here as we did earlier on, just to make sure that it goes into the manifold quite easily. Just be careful, don't put the grease on the other side. You want to keep it on the outside. We don't need a lot, we just need a very little, because the grease itself will, you know, it's very greasy. Just a light coating of grease on there. And now we can put it in. Just get them in position and then press them from the outsides in. That's it. Here we go. There we go. That's all we need to do. Guys, once you've done that, it's in. Your fuel rail is in. Just make sure all of them are in tight. That. Next thing, let's put in our bolts. Guys, do not over torque these. You definitely don't want to over tighten them. Yeah, that's it. That's our fuel rail is on, guys. Our manifold is on. We can now put our cylinder head onto the block, and then we're gonna take it from there, guys. Let's go to the block and let's see what we need to do. I'm gonna put this one in here. Okay, guys, we're ready now to put on our cylinder head. Our gasket is on there where it needs to be. We are happy with everything, and now I'm going to put the cylinder head on. Just make sure that there's nothing in the way. And what's very important is to make sure that your studs Make sure that your studs are lining up. There we go, there's one there, and this one here. Oh, see my problem? Okay, hold on. Okay, this bolt is in the way here, alternator bolt, because I leave the bolts in there where I take them out, but he has to come out now. Let's try that again. The gasket's in place. So you want to line up this stud with the bottom of your cylinder head, and the cylinder head itself has got a stud in at the bottom here. So you want to make sure that that stud goes into that hole over there, and you'll be fine. Just go slowly. Don't rush. Alright, there we go. Make sure there's no pipes or wires in the way, and then we can get it where it needs to be. Oh gosh. Oh. Another alternator bolt in the way. And also make sure that all your wiring, guys, is where it needs to be. There's one wire, it's this one. One wire and one pipe. That needs to always be at the top, and that's a crankshaft. Crankshaft positioning sensor. Make sure he's somewhere out of the way. And then, of course, your heater hose must be out of the way as well. So here we go again. Let's try it again. Right. David, just move that gasket into place. There we go. Right, okay. Come on. Make sure your studs are lined up. Get my hand out there. Go. There we go. Right. Guys, make sure your cylinder head is lined up properly. Make sure your studs are on properly. Yeah, looks good. I know this stud, and this stud is on here. So I can feel it's in, solid. There's no wires in the way, nothing is preventing him from doing anything. This wire goes that way. My crankshaft positioning sensor wire, make sure that you move him in now. So this is in place so that you can get to him. We are going to be prepping the cam box to go on now, because it'll go on fairly soon after this now, as well as our head bolts. We're going to be prepping them now. We'll show you what we're going to do there, but prepping is important because you want to be able to save as much time as you can. And what we're going to do here is there's no gasket between the cam box and the cylinder head. All we do is we put a very thin film of gasket maker on there, and of course remember that you don't want to use too much gasket maker, but you want to put a reasonable amount of gasket maker on there, just enough to just a thin film, just to create a oil-proof seal. And remember, the gap there is very small, so you do not have to put a huge amount. Just has to be enough to cover, just in case. Very, very, very thin. So the same thing applies here. You just want to coat this, because these two parts, it's metal, so that it will be metal to metal with a thin layer of gasket maker in between. So it's very, very thin. Not even trying to make a lot of gasket maker on there, because yeah, it's just something that's you don't want that hole to get blocked up. Once that gasket maker squeezes, you don't want it to actually squeeze out into the hole. So I'm just going to put it more on the outside. Just be careful of that hole there. It's one of the holes you need to be careful of. It's a very important hole. Okay, I'm happy with that. That's good. What we're going to do next is to is to put grease on our cylinder head bolts. The reason we do this is so that you don't have bolts that seize up later on you. And yeah, these bolts, if you don't do this, you could have problems later on. You don't require a huge amount of grease, but it must be put on. That's why earlier on we cleaned out the hole so beautifully, because the old grease is still stuck in there. 2, 4, 6, 8, 10. 2, 4, 6, 8, 10. 10 bolts. Our bolts are right, they are new. And all you want to do is, all you're going to do, guys, is take your grease and you're just going to take a very little bit. It's not a huge amount, guys. You just want to come closer. Camera, come closer. Right, you just want to get it underneath like that. On the head at the bottom, that's what you want there. And then on the threads at the bottom. And once again, it's not a huge amount. It's definitely not a huge amount that you want to get on here. Don't worry to get it on the bottom of the thread, but you want to really get it on the lower end, because that is where it's going to, that's where it's going to tighten up and stretch. And I'm just going to put it in my box like that. And you don't want to put too much, like I said. You just want to put on enough so that the bolt on top doesn't seize up onto the block itself or onto the head itself. And that's why you're doing this. The same with the bolt at the bottom. You don't want these bolts to seize up inside, because it does happen, and you're trying to prevent it for when you loosen it up again. So that's the procedure. So this is the last bolt, guys. Yeah, it takes a bit of time to do these things, but it's better to prep now, so that when you put your head on, when you put your cam box on, when you put your lifters in, and you put everything together, your bolts are ready to go. So it's best to prep this before the time, and that's why I'm doing that right now. So okay, that's another step done. And now we're going to go and we're going to put on our lifters and our rockers, and we're going to take it from there. Action. So our cylinder is on. We now are going to put in our lifters and rockers, because once we put the cam box on top, then it's going to, and we put our bolts in, our head bolts, we're going to then torque it down, and then we need to have everything in. So right now, what we're just going to do, we know our cylinder is tight, we know it's on in position, head gasket is right, we've done everything that like we're supposed to, we've blown out our holes, everything is ready and clean. So earlier on I put the lifters into some oil, just so that when I take them out of here, then they've got enough oil on them, so that we can not have any issues with lubrication later on. So what I'm going to just do now is, just as they are here, I'm going to put them in. And it don't really matter where you put them. I will just do that. Just move them in and out a little bit. And do it like that. And just do each one individually. Just put some oil inside. And then squeeze it in, pull it out, put it back in. Just make sure that there is oil inside that cavity there. And of course, make sure that your lifters are loose, that they are soft. You don't want them to be hard when they go in there. Just like that. Just like that. Now we're going to focus on putting in the rockers on the top, and also not super difficult, but you need to ensure that your rockers are also well lubricated. I'm missing something. Now buckets first, before we do that. These are the rocker buckets, and they go on top. Please just don't drop them in your engine, because yeah, that can be a huge issue. But fortunately, I do possess a magnetic tool Okay, we've put our buckets now in position, and we're going to just take our rockers out and put them on top. Once again, make sure that they are well lubricated. We're going to put them on top like that, in position like that. Like that. Okay, there we go. So what you can also do is you can use grease just to keep them in place instead of using the oil. But I think we'll be okay with our oily lubrication there. That everything is level like it should be. Make sure you've put in everything. All your buckets are in, all your lifters are in, your lifters are free, and now we can put on our cam box. And I think I just need to move these out of the way a bit, just to get in here. You don't want anything in your way when you're putting on the cam box, because you need to put it down as level as possible. So what I've done is I've just gone and cleaned off the surface again here before I put on the cam box, because it's not good to put oil on put gasket make onto oily surfaces. It's best to ensure that the surface is clean. So I've gone and I've cleaned it off, and now we're going to put on our cam box. And of course the cam box goes through this hole here first, and then we'll put it on, we'll put it in. So just be careful when you're putting it on. So very careful, guys. Also your cam, just adjust your cam so that these two first lobes are facing away. And then of course you've got your, there we go. You've got your studs that put it in the right place. I must say that's gone on very nicely. And yes. So guys, what you want to do is just make sure that your lifters are level and straight. They haven't fallen over, anything like that, or come loose in any way or such. So far I'm happy, everything looks good, and we're just going to, yeah, everything looks good, and I think I can put my bolts in now. I'm feeling very confident, everything looks good. Okay, next up we're going to install our head bolts, and we've prepped them before the time, so now it's one step less to do. And what we'll just do is just put them in, drop them in there, just push them through. There we go. Doing next, we're going to be tightening down the bolts. We're not torquing them yet. I'm just going to tighten them down, and if you see in front of me, I've got the tightening sequence. I do it for visual effect, but it also helps you to concentrate. So what I'm just doing right now is just turning the bolts down from the center, and you'll see the tightening sequence is from the center, always from the center out, and that is the tightening sequence from number 1, number 2. As you can see, this is the bolts here. This is bolt number 1, number 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, and so on. But you must follow the tightening sequence. I'm not tightening it down yet. I'm just getting them to the point where they all are just a little tight, so we can try and turn it down equally. Don't try to, tighten your bolts all the way down. Rather do it little bit by little bit. So what I'm going to do next now is just tighten them a little bit more, starting once again in the sequence from the middle, because obviously the middle ones have now gone a little bit loose, and so on and so on. It just helps with the torquing. You don't have to turn your torque wrench and turn your torque wrench all the time. Just get them down to a point. And remember, we set our pistons in the middle of the block. So that means that we know that no matter what valves are opening now, because the timing won't be in, no matter what valves we're opening now, those valves are not going to be touching anything. Alright, so we'll just do one more bit of tightening here, and then I will start the torque sequence. Even yeah, we are basically there right now. So let's just make sure these ones are down. Yes. Now I'm going to start the torque sequence, and we're going to start torquing at 25 Newton meters, and that is your beginning torque. Yeah, that's just to make sure that the bolts are on the same torque. That's 22, 24, 25 Newton meters. There we go. Yep. So guys, just one thing to remember. Now Victorines, they stipulate that you've got to torque the head gasket down 3 times after this, and then at 60 degrees, and then 30 degrees, and then warm the engine up, and then torque a further 30 degrees after that. So that is the way you can do it. Before I've done it all the way 60, I didn't have a problem with it. So you can do it both ways. Obviously best to follow the manufacturer, but you can do it both ways. I've done it both ways already, and they both work. Okay, we're going to go to 25 Newton meters now. There we go. Following our torquing sequence, which is 1, 2, and guys, when you're talking, you're going to hear I'm not talking, because you need to concentrate when you're talking. There's no time for chatting, no time for answering the phone, no time for talking to friends, no time to talk to the birds outside. You make sure that you are focused on what you are doing, because this is a point. After this point, there's no return, and you don't want to make a mistake after this point now. We can just check our torque again. That one's right. He's right. He's right. Right. Okay guys, this was the easy part. We know all our bolts are now 25 Newton meters, and now comes the part where you need to make sure you've got muscles of strength and nerves of steel. Guys, we're going to torque our first one now, so I'll be shutting up from this point onwards, but we're going to do our first torquing at 60 degrees. What's going to happen is I'm going to turn this angle. I'll just give you an example. I'm turning him now. That's our first stretch, and that's 60 degrees. That's how the angle gauge works. I hope you could see that, but that's how it works there. So we've done our first set of 60 degrees. What I've done is you've seen me mark a little dot as I go along. You don't have to do it this way, guys. You find your own system. But for me, you know, if you're doing this for the first time, you're going to need to really concentrate, focus on what you're doing, because you don't want to make a mistake on this one. And therefore I'm using this just as a guide for you guys to see what needs to be done, how things get tightened, etc., and how you can keep your wits about you while you're doing this. So I'm going to start on the second one now, second stage of torquing, which is another 60 degrees, and we'll start at the point where we are supposed to. Okay guys, we're doing the last 60 degrees. I've decided I'm doing the full 60 degrees, and yeah, we'll take it from there. But I'm doing the full 60 degrees now, and like I always do, and I don't seem to have any issues with that, but I'm doing the full 60 degrees, and this will be the last of them now. Okay guys, so yeah, that was quite hectic. That's 3 times 60 degrees. Our cylinder is now torqued down to the appropriate torque, and we are now able to continue the reassembly of the engine. The mechanical parts have been done inside here now, so I'm quite grateful for that. I'm very happy for that, and it looks like everything went according to plan. The bolts, head bolts, did what they needed to do, and I think we've done our job in terms of cleaning the holes out, the thread holes out earlier on. We've cleaned them well, so I think everything felt good. I'm very happy how things went right now. So something that I really like to do is to clean out all the holes, and it's very important, guys, that you clean out all your holes. You probably heard me say it 10 times in here already. I can't really show you inside there right now, but what I've done is I've taken a brush, I've cleaned it inside, and I've just made sure that my crank bolt goes in easy and it turns in very nicely. There's no issues with that, because it's vital that you clean out the hole so that the thread is good. And earlier on you saw me cleaning off the bolt itself, cleaning off the threads. That's also very important, because we're going to put Loctite on here just now, and it's important that the threads are cleaned off. I'm busy doing the tensioner here. I'm busy doing the tensioner's bolt now. So he's turned in, he's a little tight. I'm not so happy that he's so tight, but that can be the Loctite that is made him from the previous time that is so tight. But it's turning in well, so I don't have a problem with it. Seems to be fine. Let me just try and get underneath here. Let's see if it'll turn by hand now. Yeah, it's a little bitter, but it's still getting tight. I think there's Loctite in there, and that's why that's happening. But it's fine. I don't mind it being Loctite in as long as it turns, because it's gotta be able to turn. And I'm quite happy if it turns out, even if it's tight. So what I'll do is I'll turn in the bolt, put a little screwdriver in there. Don't damage the threads, but just a small screwdriver just to loosen up any loose debris, and a small brush as well. Brush out the holes as well. And then after that we're gonna blow out the hole. Yeah, this one's nice and tight, so I don't have a problem with this. It's actually better if it's a bit tighter in here so that it doesn't vibrate loose. So Loctite is doing its job. Yeah, as you can see, as it's coming out, you can see the threads are a little bit more dirty, because I cleaned this bolt off earlier on. You saw me doing that, and I've cleaned it. Now the threads are a bit dirty, but that's okay. It's nothing serious. We're just going to blow out the holes now quickly. Having compressed air on hand is extremely important when you're doing work like this. It's very, very important to do it. Mind my eyes. Guys, here we go. That's how you do it. All your holes, especially the important ones, guys, the threads like this, they need to be clean, because you're going to put Loctite on them again, and you want to make sure that nothing's going to come loose later on and nothing strips. We have now completed putting everything back together again. So the very last thing that I want to do now is to put on the cam box cover. And I've just covered the cam because I don't want anything to come in here. I don't want anything to get onto that. So I'm going to put a very thin layer of gasket maker just on the outer edge here. I found in the past that even though I'm putting on a new gasket, I will be putting on a new gasket on this. That's the one inside here. This is the rubber gasket. I'm going to be putting him on. And the thing about it is that sometimes I find it still leaks. So the most important thing right now is to make sure that the surface on the cylinder head, on the cam box, at least not the cylinder head, on the cam box, that surface is absolutely clean. And then clean and dry and free of oil. So then we will go ahead and we'll put on the new gasket. It's a very simple operation, just like it came out there now. It's the same way it's going to go back in. And from there we'll put on the cam box cover, and we'll be done, and then we can do our startup, guys. And now that we've got the old gasket off, we can put on our new one. That's the old one. We'll just put it on one side, and this is the new one. The new Victor Heinz gasket. Guys, what you'll notice is if you put the gasket out like this, you'll notice that the gasket has got a little tab on the side here. There's like a little tab on it there. This tab, it's got a little gap that it goes into over here on the actual on the cover itself. So we'll start with that tab there, and we'll just push our gasket in from that side. We'll work it all the way around. Just make sure it's got like little tabs on it as well. You can see that there's like these little tabs on here on the gasket itself. Just make sure that they get pressed in. The whole gasket must just seat in, and once you tighten it up, then it will expand and create an excellent seal. And that's what you do with that one. And I would once again guys, you don't need a huge amount of gasket maker. You just need a little bit, very thin layer, very thin. Just make sure your surfaces are clean. We do not want the gasket maker to go into the engine. Right, so I'm just going to install the cover now, and first thing I like to do is just to get these two pipes on, because they always are very difficult to install once it's on. Out to breather holes, breather pipes, out to breather pipes. Let's get that on. Right, so now very carefully we can just put on our box. That's it there. There we go. And just going to clean off this off a little bit more, make sure there's nothing on the holes where the bolts are going. Okay, now it's time to torque up our Cambox bolts, and what we're doing here now is we're just going to torque them up to 8 Newton meters. Very little. We'll start from the middle. There you go, it's 8 Newton meters. Work our way in a crisscross pattern. There you go. Whoop. Right. Eight. Right. Okay guys, I'm starting it up. It's now running for almost a minute at 2000, and it's been another 20 seconds. I'm watching the timer that I've got going here on the phone. So it's about 10 seconds left, and then we're gonna drop down to 1500 after that, 1500 RPMs after that. To 1500 now. Just try to drop it down. It's difficult, not so easy. There we go. I'm just gonna take a little down. It's kind of difficult to do it from inside here, but I'm man alone. I can't do it any other way, and I need to see the rev counter. There we go. I'm just gonna keep it under 2000. It's kind of difficult to do that. 30 seconds left. Guys, another minute has passed, and we're gonna drop down now. We're going back up to 3000 now. Oh, this is pretty stressful. But that's what they ask you to do, so we've got to do it that way, guys. We've got to do it. "20 seconds. Oh, it's very stressful. 10. Okay, we're gonna come down now to 2000 again for another minute. Here we go, back down to 2000. Gonna keep him there. Guys, this is not the last one. And this is the end. Oh, and we are done. Gosh. Okay, let's see how we did. Okay, looks like our water is even going down. Oh wow, guys, that sounds fantastic. Our lifters have gone a little bit more quiet from when I started. Sounds good. Wow, finally I'm done. The table is empty. All the parts that needed to be put into its place is gone, and they've gone into the Opel Corsa. All that's left is some tools on a bench and some old parts, and the Opel Corsa Utility is completely sorted out, guys. The cam is in, rockers are in, lifters are in. I've assembled everything. Everything's working beautiful. So that was the assembly of all the parts. Guys, the job went fantastic. I'm very happy. I took my time. I didn't rush. I made sure every little area was clean, from the bolts we cleaned off to every little small detail. The surfaces, everything was cleaned off nicely. I'm very happy how things went. The engine itself sounding amazing, and of course the response from the pedal right now is very good. So guys, thank you for watching. There's going to be, obviously, after the show, and after the show means that we're going to be talking about things more in detail. If you are a member of the channel, then you'll see everything that I'm going to detail in after the show. Start considering becoming a member of the channel, guys, and until I see you in the next episode, thank you for watching, and please like, share, subscribe, and consider joining our member section on the channel.